What's up, Brian?
Hey, what's up, AJ? How's it going?
It's good to have you back, man. I missed you.
It's good to have your front, man.
We had you safe in cryo storage, and it looks like all your bodily functions and everything are up to running again. So you're good to go.
Lots of bodily fluids. They're all up and running. Um, yeah, no, Friday was crazy, man. Friday was absolutely crazy. And I'm glad you were able to pick up the mantle and power on without me. Like who need
Yeah,
like let's be fair. I think all you did was prove sirens on my end that you don't need me.
of course I do.
Oh.
So I was thinking about a Zenith, different Zenith guild names potentially
Uh-huh.
for
Uh-huh.
us. Obviously, there could just be the cats or the game cats.
Oh yeah.
There's game cats assemble,
Yeah, good one. I
but
like
then
our system.
we could also do something game cat adjacent like the Claw Collective,
Oh, that's good. That's good.
the
Isn't the
the ca-
claw from Inspector Gadget?
the cat's meow.
Oh,
I don't know,
that's
just
good.
spitballing here. We've got a lot to go here.
Yeah. Well, we want to hear
The cat.
nonstop suggest between now and the time that Zenith actually launches. We want to hear nonstop suggestions about what the Gamecat Guild should be called because you're all invited to join, right?
Yes, you know what
Okay.
else they're invited to
Okay,
join,
not
Brian?
not not Justin Cassidy, but everyone else is totally invited to. Just kidding, Justin. We
Of
love you.
course, Justin Cassidy.
Okay.
They're also invited to start the show, Brian.
Okay. I'll start the show. This is PSVR Gamescast Live. We film live every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Not 100% sure which one of those days today is, but we're here, so it must be happening. And look, the 20 questions game from last Wednesday. So spoilers if you're playing catch up. My name's Brian Powell from this channel right here, PSVR without Parole, and this guy over here can't do it without him. It's AJ from the Underground, PSVR Underground.
What is up, Brian? What is up, Game Cats? Happy Monday. And we
Hello,
know that
Monday.
Mondays usually suck, but we are here to help your Monday suck just a little bit less. Just a little bit.
That's right. Guys, real quick,
Not too much.
if you're not already a member of our Discord, make sure you click the link in the description below. Join us over there. That's where, of course, we'll be gilding up. I don't think that's an expression. We'll be gilding up when Zenith launches next year, early next year. But also in the meantime, that's where we can play a whole lot of other PSVR games together and get together and hang out, and we can get real intimate and learn all of each other's deep dark secrets. Dr. Claw, hell yeah, Ryan. Fucking that guy knows what's up. Dr. Claw works for Mad. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Also, don't forget to, if you don't like watching this, if you don't like watching your podcast in video format and seeing us and last week's 20 question trailer, I don't know why that's still up, then you can head over to Apple Podcast or Spotify or any of your favorite podcast services, and you can listen to this show over there. But most importantly, if you don't subscribe to AJ at PSVR Underground, make sure you do that. When I'm slacking, he picks up the slack. Isn't that right, AJ?
That's right, man. By the way, the new setup looks good. Look at all those games. I'm sure you've beaten every single one of those. That I just got to say, man,
I've
nice
beaten
rack.
all the ones that I've taken the cellophane off of. Just like half of them are like still new. Because I'm like such a collector. I'm like, yeah, I'll play them, but I won't
Love
open
the
them.
new setup. Although, where's Tornado? She's not in her igloo thing.
Dude. So this the tornado has taken over the apartment. She's got this cubby here that she can hang out in. You can't see it. She's got this big pedestal over here that's like a giant scratching post. And of course, she's not in either. She's sleeping on one of her two kitty condos just off camera. But yeah,
Well,
I moved into this room.
Old Rod.
I moved into this room and it's much better. I love it. And I like being around my games because, I'm a gamer. So. All right, man. AJ, we should probably get the show started. We have a whole lot of stuff to talk about. And since we didn't do the show Friday, usually we like to thank all of our subscribers and everyone who's here and watching the show live and all the Patreon supporters that can help us out on patreon.com/withoutparolegames. But there's always like another group of people that we like to thank that requires zero financial contribution to the channel. Isn't that right?
That is correct, Brian. We would like to also thank those who support us in another way by changing their name on YouTube to something GameCat, something GameCat related, or something GameCat adjacent. And this week, we have 4 new GameCats to welcome to the Gamecat Dojo. Starting with the Mancunian GameCat.
So
Good old, some Manchester pride there.
Did you have to Google that? Because I did.
No, of course not. We have so many we have a lot of EU friends. The Game Cats span around the globe, Brian. I mean, if there was somebody
thank you for confirming that you Googled
if there was somebody if there was somebody named the Antarctic Cat, would you be like, I had to Google Antarctic? I Googled it, yes. Yeah, we've also got Taco Cat, spelled backwards is Taco Cat. The Taco Cat.
The Taco Cat. It's great. It's great because I can't read that without laughing a little bit. And so well done. I think that's Johnny No Pockets.
And making his return is serial killer, the wired without room scale Game Cat. That's right.
Not gonna lie. You're not gonna lie. Yeah, that's
wire can't hold us down.
In this last one is actually really special because as you guys know, when you're hurting, we're hurting. We're one big happy family, and unfortunately, our friend Flamehat the Game Cat, who we love dearly, he's fine, but he's going through some shit because he just lost his cat Festus, and it breaks my heart, man. And as a new cat owner and somebody who just finally realizes what it's like to have this attachment to a pet, to an animal, to my cat, to Tornado. Like, I couldn't imagine losing her, and I've only had her for a year. So we wanted to give an honorary shout out to Flamehat the Game Cat and his cat Festus, the actual cat, Game Cat, and that is a picture of Festus right there. Like, so fucking cute. I'll speak for Flamehat right now, man. We miss you, Festus. It's sad, and This is the only way I thought we could do something nice to memorialize her.
Nice little tribute. Yeah. Rest in peace, friend. And yeah, that's the only shitty part about owning a pet. Everything else is great.
Yeah, the next animal I get after Tornado, I'm just going to make sure it outlives me.
Yeah.
That's a weird way to say that. We got to give a shout out to Looper the Underground Game Cat with the €2 says, "Thank you for making Monday feel like Friday." Oh, that's
hell yeah,
the best compliment
elite
we've ever
name
gotten.
Squad in the house.
We also got Nihilus Ryan the Game Feline with the $5 tip says, "Merry early Catmas." I like that too, Catmas.
Hell yeah, it's Catmas.
I wonder if there's catnip under the tree. I hope so. All right, man, we have got one more thing to do before we get into the main topic of today's show, and that is we need to talk just for a second about Reggie Strange's game, RC Airplane Challenge, that is coming out tomorrow. Holy crap, tomorrow. It's already out in Australia, so a couple things to keep in mind. That is a pre-release build. It was not supposed to be up on the store as early as it went up. And so if you did buy it from the Australian store, if you're Australian and you did that, keep in mind it's not the final release. He should have a patch out today if it's not already out, and getting it up to speed with what the final release should be. The other thing about that is, what is the other thing? I don't know, but here, that's right. That's what we're doing here. Is Reggie on his Discord, on Strange Games Discord, basically did a giveaway for RC Airplane Challenge, and they chose 3 winners at random, and we are here, right here, to announce those winners. The first one, Rypop.
Nice.
Yeah, it's always nice when like Rypop has been a super crazy, awesome, loyal moderator for Without Parole for like forever, since like the beginning of time. So we're really happy that he won. The next winner, drumroll out there, Hibsy the Game Cat, who's our loyal news hound, man.
News scooper, yeah.
We couldn't ask for better winners. And then finally, the third is Zombie5150, who I believe you played Zenith with last night.
I was playing with Zombie last night. Yes. Hell
Very nice.
yeah.
So congratulations
Congrats,
to the
guys.
winners. Reggie Strange is going to send you a private message, I believe, on Discord after the show is over and send you some keys for RC Airplane Challenge. Guys, and if any of you are awake, maybe in North America, whatever, we're trying to get a few cats together to play this thing tonight. For anyone who does have early access to it, anyone who has a key, any other VR YouTubers, we're trying to just kind of get as many people into the multiplayer servers as we can to kind of test that out, because I've played all the single player stuff, but I still need to play the multiplayer stuff. So if you're able to, please join us. That includes the contest winners tonight, hopefully around 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll see how that pans out.
One more piece of news before we get started as well. Wednesday, December 22nd, the holiday sale is dropping on PlayStation Network. There's going to be a huge drop of prices in a bunch of games, including PSVR games. There was a leak that we found that Fracked was going to be on that sale, but we don't know what else is going to be. So just keep a heads up on that. So that's going to be one of the big things happening this week as well.
Stingray X in the chat asked if RC Airplane Challenge is going to be online. Yes, at launch it has a 32-player free-for-all mode. And then after that, there will be a team deathmatch mode, which is obviously 16v16, and also a base attack mode, which will be a little bit more strategic than the straight-on team deathmatch 16v16. So Reggie has some good plans for this. Good stuff. All right, dude, is it time to talk about the headline of the show?
It is time to talk about Zenith, which we've been covering for 2 years. Back in early 2019, I think it was. They originally announced the game on Kickstarter. It destroyed its Kickstarter goals and everything.
Yeah. Like $250,000, I think they raised on Kickstarter. They raised like what, $10 million in the first round of investment. Like, so I mean, these guys are doing everything right. They're getting the money where they need it, and we're about to tell you that, holy crap, have they put this money in the right places? Because we're about to tell you about a very polished beta.
Yeah, this is the Zenith VR MMO RPG. It is kind of based on like a sort of Sword Art Online, a little bit of Final Fantasy. And
Fantasy
yeah,
Star Online kind of.
it is a massive multiplayer online game where, you know, you can play it like a single player RPG, but there's generally stuff that you want to play with groups of people. And yeah, man, this game, first off, is massive. I've got about 18 hours on clocked in on the game so far. I've played through all the classes, so we'll dive into that a little bit later. But yeah, just starting things off, the world, 18 hours in, and I've probably seen about 3 areas. And when you zoom out and look at the world map, I think I'm like not even 25% of the map cleared, open 25% of the map yet.
Yeah, the game is huge, man. The game is absolutely huge. But first and foremost, okay, listen, I want to make sure we addressed Flame Hat, who's in the chat. I didn't know if he was here watching. He donated 219 Sekiros, lots of hearts. He says crying right now. Thank you so much. We love you, man. Our heart goes out to you.
Oh yeah, Flame Hat.
I'm glad you're here. Anyway, so yeah, so let's start though from the beginning here with Zenith, because this is an MMO, and I just need to know, just so everybody out there, all the cats, have a proper perspective on our experience, right? Like, I feel like you've played quite a few MMOs. I have not played really any MMOs. Like, I've played some Phantasy Star Online, but really even with that, you go out with a group of like 4 people. This is not like that at all. You're wandering around the field, and there's just people everywhere, and you can just you can either party up with them, or you can just be like, hey, you want to come with us, and you just go with them, right? It's so and I haven't seen, I as far as I can tell, the only limit to this is however many people are on the server.
Yeah.
Right? So you can gather up everybody and be like, we're all doing this together. And so for me, somebody who does not have MMO experience, that's kind of mind blowing, especially in VR, where I'm like, oh, this just feels like it kind of has no limits. But you've got MMO experience, so you tell me, does this feel like a proper MMO in terms of that regard, like in terms of like player size?
Yes, I played a lot of World of Warcraft at a certain time, Vanilla WoW, and I played Final Fantasy 14, A Realm Reborn, and this one for me is right up there with those in terms of quality and content. Yes.
Okay, good. That's really good to hear. Okay, so we got MMO out of the way. You start this thing up, throws you into tutorial. You're in this underground city, very cyberpunk looking, and it just really kind of starts walking you through some stuff. But first you create a character,
Correct.
and I think the character now. Like, listen, here's the thing. This is a beta, and I really want to make sure that everyone is aware that if we have any complaints or any concerns or anything at all, really, that it's a beta, and I've already said how polished this thing is, and so and I'm just trying to come up with the right way to say this. There are so many
Basically, yeah.
there's so many
Go ahead.
possibilities for this game between now and launch, and we don't really know like the complete roadmap. We don't know all of their plans, but I will say, with all of that in mind, with the character creation, I was like, oh, I can be a guy or a girl, and I can have a few different skin tones, a few different hair types, but we all generally kind of look the same. I kept saying like we look like we're all related in some way or another, right? Because
Yeah.
it's not that crazy where you can just have like radically different characters. It's a pretty simple character creation.
Right. There's a lot. There's some different options, like you said. There's not a. I wouldn't say there's like a huge range of customization options, but there are a lot of them that you can choose from. A couple different hairstyles, couple different skin tones, couple different faces, and then of course you choose male or female, and then you can choose what kind of class you want to be. And there's basically two different main classes right now, and that is the Blade Master, which is like a sword using dual blades, and then there is an Essence Mage, which is the like just a mage. It's basically a warrior and a mage type, but each of those gives you the option to play as three different types. Anybody that's played an MMO, you work together basically in the game, and usually the variety of classes you have can help each other work together in tandem, and that's how it's designed. Is like some people have weakness, but then there's another character of a different type that can help alleviate that weakness and is not as good as some of those same things. So there's you could play as a tank, which is somebody that usually can take a lot of damage. You can play as DPS, which is damage per second. They're just meant there to deal a bunch of damage. And then there's a support, which is basically a healer.
Absolutely. Omen Boy, I'm going to be working on the volume as we go here. So thank you for the heads up on that. So, okay, so yeah, so it's funny that you actually mentioned that this game is designed to like you're supposed to like work together with other people. You're supposed to party up and work together. I tend to have a problem with this kind of thing. I'm very much I like to play games single player if possible, and especially with a game like this, it has so many different elements to learn, so many mechanics to get familiar with. I kind of like to do the whole lone wolf thing at first and just kind of go off on my own and do my own thing. And once I'm familiar, once I've acclimated to the game, then I'm like, okay, let me party up and then be like, and then I can hold my own, and then I'm not dragging anybody down, that kind of thing. And so it was so tough. It was so tough to play by myself because
Yeah.
during the last 3 days, people kept running up to me and being like, "Hey, how you doing? What's going on? Do you want to join us?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no, not really." Like the last night I was playing and I just went in by myself. I really just wanted to grind a little bit on my own. And I just happened to be in the same server that AJ was in the same area of the world that AJ was in, which is like ludicrous to even think
Small
that we
world.
found each other. Because I heard his voice, and I was like, I was like, I don't want to play with anybody. I feel bad if I have to feel like, oh, AJ, I don't want to play with you. So as soon as I saw him, I hid behind a tree, and I was like, I'm going to test out the stealth mechanics. And I went dunk, 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 and like hid behind a building, and then dunk, 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 hid behind another building, and slowly ran away from him.
It definitely works. There is like a proximity chat, but there are different options as well. There is a proximity chat where you can choose to be in like only you can hear kind of like the proximity. You can hear just the people in your party, and then there was a third one actually.
Proximity, party, and
I don't know if it
there
was
was a third one.
but
Oh yeah, I think you're right. I think it was guild. So yeah, so I mean, and that's actually super convenient because it's really easy to lose other people. Because if you're just running around and like killing things and like you're not paying attention, it's easy to lose people. And so, so the second they're out of proximity, like if you're partying up and going with a bunch of other people, then you do want to use the party chat. But it's so simple. You just go into the menu and you just click the party chat, and it's like suddenly everybody that's in your party you can hear as if they're standing right next to you, even if they were like, oh hey, I got to go like do this on the other side of the map. You can still hear them, and so that way it's easier to kind of like regroup when everybody's ready to go, go take down a quest together. So all right, so we talked a little bit about the character creation and about the different classes. I ended up spending all of my time as a mage. I thought that for me worked the best, and because I saw you running around and you were like swinging your swords, and I was like, I don't know if like I want the close combat style, and so it was nice to be able to like have my weapons, charge them up, and fire these blasts from a distance, and kind of keep my distance and fire like do some rapid fire stuff too that I didn't need to charge up, and then kind of complement that with all my magic abilities, because I had all these as you level up, you've got all these cooldowns and everything, and so I'm like I'm kind of multitasking. I'm using all these things together, but I don't think that wasn't really your experience though, because you weren't primarily playing as a mage, right?
Yeah, so I actually played about each of the classes here. I'm
Pretty
sorry.
equally.
Let me answer your question. This caught me off guard real quick. Josh PSVR donates and says, "Please explain your comment that Zenith has the same amount of content as WoW." I don't believe that's true. Yes, that is not true. That because WoW has had years and years and years. I said vanilla WoW, and I think there's still some things that. Obviously those games are probably bigger. I'm 18 hours into this game. So far, it is just as impressive though, especially when you do the VR conversion rate. This game, the amount of content that it has so far and variety has basically it holds up against flat screen games. There's sometimes this argument of how does this how would we feel about this game if it was not VR? And what I meant was this game holds up if it was a non-VR game, like it is a lot of the stuff that you would see in a non-VR game. So that's what I meant by that. And yes, I did say vanilla WoW, not current day WoW.
And it's also important to note that
and there's going to be some major differences too. There will be some major differences, which we'll get into.
Well, it's also important to note that we've been playing for hours and hours and hours, and we still are barely scratching the surface. Like I certainly haven't seen all of the map. I certainly haven't encountered all of the enemies. I've only leveled up to a certain amount, and so so my ability to actually go out and search the entire world is pretty limited until I do level up even more. So as far as I'm concerned, like. There's so much content here for pre-release. It's actually to me it's kind of crazy that they even have as much content as they do. I can't compare it to something like WoW or anything else, but if this was not an MMO and this was like a single player adventure, I'd still be like, what the fuck is going on here? There's so much. There's just so much to do and so much to see. Real quick, Mad Max the Metaverse Gamecat VR with $2 tip says, quick, drop a key, I'll catch it. I wish I had some keys to drop. All right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. They did have a little mishap with some keys, and not as many got as distributed, and the demand was so high about this. So, Brian, I'm sorry. I saw that and I had to address that
No,
because
perfect. Hey, if anybody else has questions about the game, make sure you drop them in the chat. We'll do our best to answer everybody's questions.
Yep. Well, Imzadi did ask what size are the parties. They can be pretty big. Um, like it seems like maybe around 8 to 10 people can be in a party, maybe even more though. But here's the thing, like he said in the beginning, you actually, if you don't even party up and you just get a bunch of people together, God knows how many that can be. I mean, you can have a lot of people. The most people I've rolled together with was somewhere like over 10.
Nice.
Oh yeah, and I did play EverQuest as well. That's right. And then Zach Wilder asked, "Hey AJ, is the combat similar to Until You Fall?" We'll get into the combat in a little bit. Just bear
we'll
with
get
us.
there. Yeah, let's start with some basics though. Like the second you walk into this world, like I said, you start in this cyberpunk city and you kind of go through this tutorial, and then you end up like in a little bit more of an above ground area with shops and other things to deal with. But man, I will say that right off the bat, I was like, when you go into a beta and the developers are basically saying to you, listen, just understand that like things are not perfect. We're running into lots and lots of problems. Like keep your expectations in check and whatever. I was like, ooh, like this is gonna be rough. And on top of that, it's PlayStation VR, and I know that full well that 99% of people playing this are gonna be on Quest 2 or PC VR, right? And so I had my expectations pretty low, and I was like, this is gonna be a shit show. This is gonna be a buggy mess. Whatever, it's probably gonna run into choppy frame rate, all of this stuff. I step into that cyberpunk city and go, this is fucking beautiful. This game is beautiful, and it's running at a super slick like 60 FPS, and I'm like everything just feels like it's moving well. And I was like, well, once we get into the multiplayer area, it's probably going to change. And like then like 3 people ran up past me, like they were also doing the tutorial. I was like, oh, we're in the multiplayer area already, and it's running perfectly. And I was like, well, I bet when we get out to the real open fields and there's a lot of people running around, well, then we'll start seeing some frame rate problems. And I bet the graphics out there not nearly as impressive. Dude.
Nope.
As soon as I cross that bridge into like the first big open field, the first big valley, and there's people running around and they're just killing enemies, and everybody's. I mean, it got more beautiful by the second. I love like the pro. Okay, so I would love to show off that first area, but we're not allowed. We weren't allowed to capture our own footage and show it to you guys. We had pre-approved B-roll to use down here. And and this is in an area that I haven't even seen yet. Have you seen this desert area?
No, the desert area. That's just the latest footage that they have, and that's the latest footage they gave us. And yeah, I mean, we could have used just some beginning area footage, but because especially it's updated from the last time, from the early stuff we saw it. But yeah, no, I haven't even seen this area yet, so. That's just probably where they're at. Maybe it's a new area they added, but it's a huge game.
But I mean, come on, back me up here. When you walk into the valley, like it's just was it not stunning to you? Because I thought it looked beautiful.
It is a beautiful and vibrant game, and it is open world AF. It is a massive open world. The draw distance, I mean, you can see really, really far. And anything you see, you can pretty much go to, and yeah, there are some really, really wide views you can get of the landscape of each area,
the draw distance is incredible. Like, I don't think I've ever seen like a layer of fog that prevents me from seeing in the distance. It just seems to go on forever, and it doesn't affect the frame rate, and it's just, I mean, this is.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. You enter the first area, like you said, and everything is smooth. The NPCs, the enemies, all that's running really smooth. The people running around are really smooth. The performance of this game, it has really, really good resolution.
Yeah.
They pretty much maxed out graphically and performance wise, like they maxed out everything they could get away with, and they did a really good job because it's clear, it's like beautiful and vibrant. and it's huge. Again, huge.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Super huge. Genetic Blasphemy, the reverse engineered Gamecat with the $5 tip says, hope they're on top of the PlayStation Store listing. Windlands 2. Come on, get out of here. Stop that. She's gonna knock everything over. Windlands 2 never showed up in a coming soon or recent releases or in the VR store, only showing up in searches. That's craziness. That is absolute craziness. Stop knocking things over.
You have to type in Windlands, and Windlands 2 will pop up.
Yeah, it's crazy because I don't think that's a game that people are just going to be like searching for. So it really should be displayed somewhere. Flamehat the Gamecat with the 219 Sekiros said, this community is the best. Thanks again for all the kind words and chat and the special tribute. Thank you, Flamehat. Very much.
Thank you, Flamehat.
Mad Max the Metaverse Gamecat VR with the $5 tip says, so hold on. We can have a whole GamesCast live show, 171 plus members in Zenith. We can have a clan running the whole game together. I mean,
yeah, I don't know what the player cap is, but the servers each they call them shards, and there's like that's like basically each like server name, and you have like a whole list to choose from. They've all got a name like Galleon East US and something Europe, and there's all sorts of stuff. There's even a little option to do a PlayStation only. If you don't want to, but this game is crossplay, so you can play with PC players, Quest players. Everybody can play together here. So they nailed that aspect of it, and yeah, it's going to be amazing for everyone who picks this up. We are going to have a really, really good time, and of course we'll have our guild get our guild going once the real release happens. Because this beta that we're playing right now, this is the only shitty part about being in the beta is that it will self-destruct and we're going to lose all of our progress and have to start over from the beginning. But to be honest with you, I don't even care. Like I'm super excited about the full release because the beta, it almost feels like this beta is more polished and more packed full of content than than a lot of full releases, like, you know, maybe after the fall.
Absolutely. We got Mako XL in the chat with the Canadian $100 saying, Merry Christmas. Maffers? Is that short for motherfuckers?
Maffers.
I don't really know. Thank you, Mako, so much. Merry Christmas to you too. Dude, so one of the first things, like when you step out into this world and like before you even know how to do anything, what's crazy is that you see all these other players running around doing their thing. That's because they've been there for a little bit already. And one of the first things I saw were people flying everywhere. Now, like, people have asked us, like, this is a skill that you unlock, that kind of thing. And it's not. You can literally jump and then put your arms out, and now you're gliding.
Yes, we've had a lot of questions about the controls, too. So, yes, it does support moves. It's probably going to be moves only, I imagine. And they did a really, really good job with the controls. It's our traditional control scheme, except you don't really point the motion controller in the direction you want to walk. It's more like you press the button and you walk in that direction.
Oh, you can. And then that's an option.
That is an option. Okay.
Yeah. So it's literally the option is called point move controller. Where do you want to go to walk? Okay. Something like that. It's like very descriptive. I didn't find that till today.
I'm glad you checked that because I didn't even think to look because I like the control scheme. There is one thing maybe there is a mini map button, and I would like that swapped with the sword. With the sheathing weapon, so that both buttons are just kind of like on the same side as each other, like both on the outside. That would be nice. But that's one small complaint. I can learn with the new way, and yeah, I don't even use the point in the joystick thing because I like being able to. They have a backup button, so you don't have to like point back. You can just press the button and back up. And I like using both hands while I'm backing up. So. That allows me to do that. But yeah, the control scheme, they nailed smooth turning. There's of course your comfort options as well. All of the stuff. Of course we turn that all off. And then like Brian said, you can jump in this and you can glide and like you said, you glide by spreading your arms and you fly.
Yeah, and it feels good. It's all based on a stamina meter. or maybe a flight meter. It's all combined stamina, and
It's
so
like
and
stamina.
so you
Yeah.
you can't just glide endlessly. Like so, it's funny because who is it? Dan Kiefer in the chat. What up, Dan? Says, do you glide or fly? It's gliding. He says, can you can fly? If you can fly, then what's the point of climbing? Now, climbing's the other really impressive part of this, I think. That and it all kind of goes hand in hand. So I don't mind bringing this up now. You can climb pretty much anything. Like this is like Pop One style of like, hey, here you go. You want to climb this rock over here? You want to climb this building over here? You just reach out and you start climbing. Fuck ladders, man. You can
Anything.
just climb anything. And so
Yeah. Yeah.
so you end up climbing your way up to the very top of things, using zip lines to bring you even further up, and so that way you can sort of assess the lay of the land, figure out where you're going, and then just glide there in a straight line rather than having to like run all around everywhere to get there.
Yeah, those random zip lines are a thing of beauty. They really use them just for like quests, but they are kind of fun to use sometimes as well, just to get up to like a higher point, real fast. But yeah, they just kind of, it's like a zip line that just starts here and just goes somewhere in the sky. And there, like you said, there's kind of an endurance meter that limits how long you can glide for, but there's also these gusts of wind that are randomly scattered throughout the sky. Well, maybe not randomly, but there's like these gusts of wind that are placed around in the sky that you can hit one of those and it boosts you up. And so they get really like intricate, like the locomotion, everything is really good. And as you get on, this is going to be mostly spoiler free, by the way. So we're keeping things very vague, but later on, there's certain level designs where it really takes advantage of having this climbing and flying mechanics a lot more, and you get to do some really cool quest related stuff. They using these locomotion mechanics that are really awesome.
Yeah. Speaking of quests, you want to talk about some of these quests?
Yeah. There's basically, well, yeah, that or the combat.
Yeah. All right. Let's do combat first.
Since we're still on controls. So this is one of the coolest things about this game. That this is clearly built from the ground up for VR. And we kind of like, even though we all play PSVR, it's not uncommon for games to have like kind of not very interactive things. And I think they absolutely crushed the way you interact with stuff in this game. And I think it is VR AF. Mainly because of, how the combat works. And let's start with the Essence Mage, Brian.
Ooh, that's me.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so like I was saying earlier, like it's certainly a combination of quite a few different things.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want to call my magical gauntlets. I'm sure they have an official name, and I did not care to even learn that. But pulling the triggers lets me charge them up, and there's a number, and depending on the level of these gauntlets, they can charge up to higher and higher numbers, and so the longer you hold them, the higher they charge, and then you let go and like big blast right at the enemy. They fire pretty slowly, and so like if you're too far away, it's very easy for them to just walk out of the way and you lost your shot. But charging them up over and over is generally the way to get the best shot in. But if you want to be a little bit more reserved, you can just do rapid fire, like just and kind of like throw bullet hell at them. And then I have currently, what are the stones called that give you these powers?
They're called Godstones, and these are the basically the skills. So this is the cool part, is that they basically give the mages guns, but that's not even the main way that they really fight. I mean, that is a way. That's just like a way of self-defense, is that it almost turns the mage into like a shooter, which is really cool.
It's true.
But the way that you cast spells is you actually make hand gestures and different motions to conjure spells. And that is something that is rarely done. And this game does extremely well. So for a quick example, when you unlock certain godstones as you level up, and that's how you have a new skill to use. And you can, for instance, hold the trigger, make a circle motion, and then a big circle appears on the ground, and then you can let go, and then lightning will come down and strike right there.
Good
And they
area
have
attack.
and they have lots of gesture based stuff in this, so you can throw your you hold the triggers and like lift one hand, and it'll make like spikes come out of the ground. You can go down and like all sorts of things. There's even like little side buttons and stuff you can use as well to just conjure up a little fireball and toss it.
Yep, throw it right in. And so yeah, and so that's the great thing is, you know, if you're just fighting one on one, just fighting one character, then you really just use those guns and you're good to go. But man, it's there's certainly events that you encounter with where it's just the objective is to take down wave after wave after wave of enemies, and when you got like a group of like 7 or 8 enemies coming after you, you're running and you're gliding and you're doing all this stuff, and I'm charging up my guns as I am gliding away from these guys. I do a quick turn and then boom, fire at this group, and then as soon as I get them stunned, doing an area attack, like AJ was saying, either magnum coming up from the ground or lightning coming down from the sky, or the ground protruding spikes. All of these things, they're all run with a cooldown, and so it's just using them all effectively.
Right.
And then
You have mana and a cooldown. Yes.
right, and the mage is actually able to teleport too. Are you able to teleport, or is that just a mage thing?
The Blade Master does like a dash.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, and like even the teleport has a 16-second cooldown, so it's all this stuff you just work together, and it's like kind of micromanage all of your powers and kind of knowing instinctually, okay, once I use this one, back burner it for this many seconds, but be prepared to use it again. And like you said, man, it all works really well. It all works really, really well. I was surprised. Every so often, I would do something and accidentally pick up like a cube from my inventory or something and be like, shit, that's not what I wanted to do, and I'm in the middle of battle. But I mean, it all does feel really, really well, like 95% of the time.
Yeah, well, you can switch between, and I think that's what sets this game apart from. We haven't even talked about the Blade Master yet, but that's what sets this game apart from a flat screen action RPG. This is an action RPG. Somebody was asking. Dan Kiefer was asking, how physically tired did you get from the combat? Will this be the first MMO that actually gets people into shape? That's the beauty of this game, and that's why I think it's very revolutionary to what it's trying to do. Because instead of pressing a button to make like a slice attack or something, you are physically slicing. And I went pretty hard. So I chose the Blade Master, and I went pretty hard with that. And it's not like super physics driven, but it is very much about parrying. And you can't I don't think you can just sit there and hold up a sword. They'll just hit you. But you can, the thing you look for basically is that when somebody is swinging a sword at you, you can smack it away with your sword. And you have dual blades, by the way. You have two swords, and you smack it away, and then you can and but you're doing damage. You're taking down HP by constantly swiping and attacking, and the way they do the combat with this and the godstones or whatever is kind of similar to the mage, where it's all gesture based, but for the Blade Master, it's like 3 horizontal strikes, successful ones. Like the third one will do a lot more damage or something. Like it'll go fing and it'll do like a devastating attack. If you hold it, because I keep talking about it.
Yeah, I've heard you say like fing 10 times.
Oh, it's so
Show,
satisfying.
yeah.
It's so satisfying to swing and you hear that ping, it's
11.
so cool. And then you can hold the triggers and you can bat down or whatever, motion downward, and it does a ground pound kind of thing.
Nice.
Or it's not necessarily a ground pound per se, but it's it does some devastating attack, but yeah, it's very cool. It's very active. The first day, yesterday, I was super sore because I played like 10 hours straight. I played from like 2 p.m. to like 3 in the morning or something, and
Dude, meanwhile, I'm
off and
fine
on.
because like my character doesn't need to do any kind of swinging whatsoever. You know, I'm
Yeah,
playing pretty casually and doing some crazy ass damage, and so yeah, so depending, keep that in mind. If like you don't really want to be all that physical when playing this,
yeah.
maybe
The
being the
mage
blade
is
master isn't what you want to do. The blade master's
yeah.
probably, yeah,
I'd
the
say
mage
the
is it.
Blade Master is very physical, and then the Essence Mage is not. And Zadi also asked, talk about the healer?" So I mainly like to play as a tank and a healer, and luckily, both of my favorite classes that I usually play as, they absolutely nailed it. The tank is super cool, but the healer I tried out today for the first time and sank a couple hours into it, and. Yeah, it's similar to the mage, it is the essence mage basically is what I chose. And then there's like the little division of tank, DPS, healer, and yeah, with the healer, your guns you can actually shoot your teammates and it'll heal them, and you can like charge up the shots too, and like you blast them. But this can also do damage to enemies as well. But you also get to conjure up some spells. You conjure up healing spells. It's all the same thing: motion up, motion down, horizontal stuff. There's a little side button you can use to have a little. It's funny because the DPS mage will conjure up like fireballs and stuff, and then the healer one will do like water balls, but it still does damage. But it's super cool. They're awesome.
Yeah. All right, man. So what do you want to talk about next, man? We've still got time. I think we're not done talking about this game yet. Actually, you know what?
Yeah, no.
Before we continue, I don't want to let these tips get too far away. My apologies. Belrami of the Gamecat. Did I already say this? Yes, €5 says, too bad Sony fucked up the keys, but we'll get our own European beta. Empty servers, yay. Yeah, unfortunately, this ended up being for North America, I believe, only. Something did go wrong at the last minute. Darth Vader, the Game Cat, with a $20 tip, says, "Hey Brian, AJ, and Cats. I want to wish all of you a wonderful Christmas this year. I have loved every second of being a part of this community and hope to be a part of it far into the future. Love you all." Love you too, Vader. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Vader. Happy holidays to you as well, my friend, and glad to have you with us. Um, let's see here. Sorry, I got a little messed up here.
It's all good. I'm gonna say real quick. You know, like if anybody's been watching the channel for a long time, I think one of the things that I always go back to with games, I always think the most important thing in games is a progression system, which is funny because, you know, I like so many roguelikes where it's like you don't have a progression system, you know, it's like, but then I like roguelites more because of that. This is, again, coming from a perspective of really having never played an MMO before, it is all about progression. And it's just so rewarding to be able to say, you know, what's my goal today? My goal is to just, you know, jump into the game and grind a little bit and get to another skill level, right? Like raise my XP bar enough to get to the next level. And not only does that give you more, a better, you know, improve your stamina, it also improves your health bar. It also, you know, every so often unlocks a new spell for you to cast. Sometimes it upgrades those spells. I mean, like this is character progression and progression for video games in pretty much every sense of the word. And so you don't ever feel like you're spending a minute in this game and wasting your time. You are always, always, always making your character better. And so that's old news for lots of MMO players. But for somebody like me who's just getting into it, I'm like, this is great. Like all I want to do is just grind. And sometimes that even prevents me from progressing and like venturing further out like I want to, because I'm just going to stick around here. I'm going to stick around here for an hour and kill some people, you know, like it's really, really, really rewarding, and the game never seems to stop rewarding you. And that's not just with, you know, the actual skill levels that you're advancing. It also comes from loot, and you're constantly getting upgraded weapons, upgraded armor, upgraded everything.
Yeah, this is where the comparison to that I'll be able to make some comparisons to other MMOs I played. But yeah, the progression system is just like any RPG. You gain XP, you level up, you unlock new skills, you get lots of loot, and you look. There's lots of stats based stuff that this new sword you picked up now has more attack. Sometimes it has this ability that increases all of your stats or increases your defense or something. There's rare common items, stuff like that. And then this is where the game is probably has the least amount of depth. I think you generally all the swords basically all the weapons you use basically look the same. Some of the armor sets look a little bit different. It doesn't have like the deepest visually the deepest amount of like armor sets and weapon sets and stuff like that. It's more it increases in the stats behind each thing is really what it does, and the effectiveness of them is what it has. But World of Warcraft had like you'd constantly be getting like a mace, or you'd constantly be getting new weapons that visually look different, things like that. The whole time I've been playing, I basically have been from 2 red swords that I started out with. Now I have 2 blue swords, and they're like the same thing. They look a little bit different, but the cool thing is you get it's still done really well though. Even though that's something that would be cool for them to expand on with in the future with more classes, with add an archer class, a brawler punching class or something. There's a lot of room to grow here, which is really, really cool because what's already here is good to go. I mean, it is almost ready to ship. But yeah, when it comes to like the clothing and stuff, it's there's variety to it, but it's just don't expect like the deepest things. You're not going to be using 2 swords and then have a mace and then have a great sword and stuff. It's generally the same, revolves around the same things with some new abilities that unlock that help change it up a bit.
Yeah, and I mean, and considering that this is still in beta, that the fact that even if it launches in this exact way, there's so much room for this game to grow and to be able to to give us those things eventually. It's seeing how much World of Warcraft had evolved over the years, and seeing how much all these other successful MMOs have evolved. Like this is such a great starting point. And I will say, I've talked to some of the other cats in voice chat and told them, listen, like, I don't generally care what my character looks like in games. Like, I mean, like Rec Room is sort of, the only time I've ever spent money on cosmetics because you hang out with people in Rec Room, right? And so I didn't mind after spending hours and hours and hours in that game, basically for free, throwing a little bit of money their way and being like, hey, I've got now look at the costume that my character's wearing, right? And I've got a pretty fucking sweet costume in Rec Room. And so this is another example of a game like that where I have no idea how much this is going to cost, right? No idea how much it's going to cost at launch. But if they gave us the option to, like, if they gave us microtransaction options to buy interesting cosmetics and make our character look radically different from each other, this is one of those examples where I'm like, I'm going to get so much time. Like if this game costs $60-$70, I don't care. I'm going to get my money's worth from that $60-$70 like playing the game over the next few months. And so I don't mind spending a couple extra bucks to make sure that my character looks fucking sweet, and everybody looks and goes, why does that dude have like a green mohawk? And I was like, because I'm awesome, right? And so that's the kind of stuff, like, I really can't wait to see where they take this in the future. And very, very infrequently would I ever say, yeah, microtransactions is a good idea. But for this case specifically, I'm like, yeah, that's not bad. I wouldn't actually mind doing that.
The amount of content, I mean, I still have so much to see. The amount of content in this game is staggering. There's quite a lot to do, and that's fine. There's no rush. Right now, this game is like at least a $50 or $60 game to me personally.
In the current state,
I maybe
the way it is
in the
right
current
now.
in the beta phase, it is already like a $50-$60 game for me personally because. Also, Dan Kiefer says, "Can I be naked in Zenith?" Yes, you pretty much can. You can run around in underwear. You can't be fully out there hanging out. But you can be in.
Want to because you don't want to get your ass kicked. But
actually, it's a funny story. There's a couple other things like the game doesn't at the beginning. It doesn't really explain a whole lot to you. Everything is there, but there's a lot of stuff you don't really know unless someone tells you how to do it. The tutorials, the labels of stuff is not very well done, and that's kind of usually the case with MMOs. A lot of MMOs I've played, they don't tell you anything. But for a quick example, I was at there is an upgrade system. There's a thing where you can collect this dust in the game, and you can take it back to this like station area where you can choose to spend that dust to upgrade and add stats and abilities to your items in your inventory or whatever you have equipped. And it didn't really explain what it was, but I kind of figured out what it was. And so, like, I thought I had to take my clothes off and put it into the machine to be able to upgrade it. So I'm like standing like
naked?
I'm standing at this machine naked in the street,
That's
and
awesome.
there's like people running by, and I'm like, you know what? I don't think I have to be naked to do this. I don't think I'm supposed to take off my clothes here in the middle of like, something doesn't feel right here that I'm standing in my underwear in the cyberpunk street, trying to upgrade my clothes. But it was really funny though.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's the whole tutorial stuff. Like it could be a little bit better. I think it's fine. Like that. You know, it would be better if they did a little bit better explaining the tutorial beginning stuff. There's that area that you start in, the cyberpunk area. It is a super cool area. It reminds me of like Sector 7 slums from Final Fantasy 7. But you're there for like 5 minutes, and I'm like, man, I could have really like, they did so much work. Like, you can explore. That's the thing. This game has great exploration. A lot of rewarding exploration. There's loot chests hidden around. There's these crystals that they call tiers.
Quests everywhere.
There's a good amount of side quests,
Yep.
and yeah, there's stuff. There's so much stuff jam packed into this game. But yeah, I really thought like, hey, I could have spent. I just went and explored that first area, and like, you know, I probably spent like 10 minutes there originally. But when I went back, I'm like, there's like zip lines around the thing. There's creatures on the rooftops of these buildings that you can fight. I was like, man, they really could have had some more stuff here. And then that next area where the big crystal is. They do have a shop there. There is a shop where you can sell items. There's also like a chef guy right there that you learn how to like cook and make and do chef quests.
Yeah, cooking
and they
is
really
like a whole other thing in this game. But you know what? I'm sorry to interrupt, but like, you know, one of the things that I loved and hated about Song in the Smoke was that it's like they over-explained some things and didn't explain other things at all, right? And
Yeah.
but those things that they didn't explain at all, when you figured those out for yourself and you kind of had that sense of discovery, it was almost more rewarding because of that. So part of me is like, okay, well, I haven't really learned about crafting and cooking in this game yet, but I'm going to. And when I do, it's going to be really cool because like no one's taking me by the hand and saying, this is how you do it. It's like, oh, I've got all these ingredients and oh, this is how it's done. That's so cool. I get it. It all works.
that felt designed kind of to figure out. This doesn't feel like it's intentionally designed. This feels like, oh, you're just somebody's going to tell you how to do this, or somebody's got to explain to you, or you got to look up how to do this. They could really use like an instruction manual somewhere. There probably might be one for the game eventually once it's finished. You know, I could understand them not having one right now because it's still in the testing phase. But at launch, it would be nice to have like a guide. This is something that could really use like a guide, or at least in game. You know, there's a machine here with a button. I walk up to it and there's like clothing options, and I have no idea what's going on.
No idea.
Like there's not even so much as a label on the machine to tell me what the hell this machine is doing or what it's gonna do. So it's like I said, it's not really designed to be rewarding to figure out. But all the complaints are just really minor things. And like I said, I would love for them to kind of force you to stay in some of these areas a little bit longer, because the quests are really good, and they make it in a way where like you can accidentally skip some of the quests. And I do wish, like the main quests are really awesome, and there's some side quests and dungeons and stuff that are really cool. And I wish they kind of forced you to go in there, versus being able to kind of jump ahead. So Yeah, these are all little things that can kind of be tweaked and whatnot, but overall, I mean, what is here is everything is there. They just need to polish it up just a tiny bit, and that's what they're doing right now with this beta. They're taking in feedback and doing all this, but it is cannot tell you how amazing this experience has been, and this is easily one of my new favorite games like ever.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was going to save this to the very end of our discussion, but the way it is now is like, I mean, I look at our top 25 list, and this to me is like just almost better than anything on it. Like this is in my top 5 PSVR games of all time. Like the way it is now, like before they've like really
Yeah,
polished it up and finished it and gotten it out there. Real quick, Mako
yeah.
XL with the Canadian $5 says choo choo. Thank you so much, Mako. We love you.
Tip train.
Super Dexter Murphy with the €2. I think he gave us a couple beers. I think he's like, here you go, clink,
Cheers.
cheers, clink.
Um,
Let's host you with coffee. Super Galaxy Godstar asks, is it too late to play the beta? Currently, this is a closed beta. There was supposed to be 1,000 keys that went out. It didn't go the way it was supposed to. So it's if you don't have a key, unless you're in Europe, they're still supposed to be getting the European keys out for a future beta, and then there's, from what I understand, it's supposed to be an open beta in January at some point.
I thought it was February. There's supposed to be
Okay.
an open. There will be an open beta in early 2022, so everybody will get to try it out.
And that'll
Um,
probably be like just pre-release, like the kind of like working out the final kinks before they put out the game. So I can't imagine
yeah,
this game is going to be out much later than March.
yeah. And Zadi asks something about how hard are the bosses. There's yeah the bosses and stuff. The scaling of all the enemies and levels and stuff is pretty good. There are definitely some dungeons that you can go do, some side quests in particular that you can go do. That it's like if you're not like way over leveled, you're not gonna be able to do it solo. Basically, like you'll be able to do a bunch solo if you level up all the way and grind, but at some point it's gonna force you to have to group up with some people mostly at
Well, yeah.
like
How difficult
or
is it?
take
How many people are you willing to play with? Right? It's like, did you go and get killed by a boss? Well, then come back with 3 more people next time.
yeah, yeah, and there's naturally just people there sometimes anyways. Like there's all there, there's in the first area there's a dungeon, there's a cave that you go into, and half the time there's already people running in and out of that cave anyways. So
Right.
it is super easy and seamless to just join up with some people. All you have to do is start fighting or whatnot, and you get credit for the stuff. You get XP.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Super cool video, bro, in the chat with the $5 tip says, "Is it better than Resident Evil 7?" And no, this probably is like, I would say this. Honestly, man, obviously we're gonna have to wait till the game actually officially releases for me to like start placing it on a top 25 list. But like, as far as I'm concerned, like this and Resident Evil 7 are my favorite 2 games on the platform.
Yeah, this is definitely this is the closest thing to a Final Fantasy action RPG that I've had in VR ever. This is the first time I've experienced something like this, so it's really extra special to me. I even brought the Buster Sword out because like I love games like this. I love Japanese and Western hybrid kind of style games like things that just kind of combine the best of both worlds. And like I said, this game is, especially gameplay wise, is very immersive. It's very interactive. It is the reason you play VR.
Yeah.
They integrated that into this. It's not one of those games where it's like, why is this in VR or whatever. Ian Stanbridge says, I wonder how blurry it'll be on a standard PS4. I have no idea, man. I'm sorry.
It's a good question. It's a good
Yeah,
question, but I will say, I'm assuming that what we're playing is the pro version on PS5 right now,
yeah,
and I mean, again, just to get back to the beginning of this conversation, the art design is just so perfect. It is just the way I want this game to look, and in motion, it just looks awesome. I was blown away by how good it looked. I was blown away by how smoothly it ran. I am totally in love with this game. I mean, visually from top to bottom, but then break it down further than that, and everything else it's doing is everything I want in life, like out of a VR game. Like this is where I'm now understanding why MMOs ruin relationships and cause divorce and get people fired from their jobs because as much as I love you guys right now, I really just want to be playing more Zenith.
Yeah.
Can we wrap this shit up, man? Because I got something to do. No, I'm kidding. We actually got to do we got to do RC Airplane Challenge in about 55 minutes if anyone's around.
The Funkadelic Gamecat asks, "What happens when you die? Any cost, XP, or cash, or do you find your body?" Yeah. So, when you die, you basically pray. You put your hands together,
Or
and
if you've got a friend nearby, and
You
not,
can
not to be
be-
too vulgar, but you have to you have to touch their dick to bring them back to life. There's a big Donnie Darko. There's a big Donnie Darko tube of mana coming out of your body, but it's coming out of your crotch instead of your chest. And so I as a mage, I had to go by and touch this big long tube that's coming out of AJ's crotch until I bring him back to life. I'm powerful, man. I have the power.
They should tweak the revive a little bit.
Have it come out of your chest, like where your heart is, not where it's not out of your crotch. It's so awkward.
It's kind of it's like an invisible umbilical cord that you have to touch, and it's a weird placement of that. It'd be better just to like stand next to them or touch their head or put something. Maybe pray over them. Maybe like pray over them would be cool. I think that'd be really cool. But yeah, they need to tweak that because right now it's kind of weird and it makes you feel like you're grabbing their crotch to
I mean,
bring them back to life.
It's just fodder for so many jokes. Like you can't not make a joke about it while you're bringing someone back to life. AJ was like, "Oh yeah, I totally didn't die on purpose so you guys would touch me." They could probably work on that.
But yeah, there's so much in this game. There's, like you said, there's events that you can spawn and basically events you do, like fights, these specialized wave based fights where they bring like powerful enemies at you and you get like a reward that you can use at the crafting station in that location to build loot. We talked about climbing, combat, godstones, flying, crafting. We've covered a lot of the basics that you need to know, and we've kept it very spoiler free. All I will say is that when it comes to the quests, I really like the way the quests are designed, and they mix up the gameplay, and of course, like all games, the quests start out just like kill this certain amount of enemies. But then they start having you do these things that really take advantage of being in VR and things that involve, like I said, the locomotion, and there's ring courses that you can go around, and there's all sorts of stuff that you can do. A wide variety of quests, which I think is, when it comes to RPGs, that's something that people are always like a big stickler about. Like people hate fetch quests and things like that. I think I played maybe one fetch quest the entire time in 18 hours. I want to say like one fetch quest. There's a lot of variety and a lot of depth to the questing here.
Yeah, and a lot of them are persistent quests too. Like if you feel the need to like stick around one area and you just want to grind and grind and grind, they're certainly like, oh hey, go kill this many of this type of character and come back and see me. And you do that, and you can just do it over and over and over for bonus XP, and it's a great way to grind. But it's funny. Imzadi asks, is there an actual storyline? And I gotta say, I haven't really been paying attention because you guys know me by now. I'm super don't pay attention to anything. I'm not really seeing like this huge overarching story, but maybe you paid more attention to that.
So there is a storyline that you're kind of following. There is a lot of lore there. I'm saving it for the actual release. I'm kind of like covering my eyes when I'm doing it because I wanna play through it and experience it for the first time at the real launch and read everything and pay attention to the characters but yeah, there is like an overarching storyline, but I'm kind of like holding off on really paying too much attention to it right now.
Sure. Mick Coles in the chat says, talk about the Alvo update too. Dude, there's so many other PlayStation VR news stories that we want to talk about. Sirens on my end. But we knew that today was just going to be all Zenith. We'll make sure we get caught up on Alvo and Yuki and all the other stories that are going on right now. We'll be back Wednesday to talk about all of that. Darwin's Eyeball with the Canadian $5 says, so pumped to hear about Zenith. It sounded too good to be true. First must buy of the year.
Yeah,
Of
this
2022, yeah.
yeah, this game, like I said, is one of my favorite games ever, and it's so much fun. It's VR AF, and it's really well crafted. It's beautiful. It's huge. There's so many variety of environments. There is a lot of variety of environments, and each one has a lot to explore within there. I'm a big exploration guy, so that's like a must for me. And yeah, I'd like to say like, oh, I'd love to see this, but I haven't even seen everything that there is, and I've seen one, two, three, four. I've seen at least like 4 or 5 new environments, and looking at the world map, I have only scratched the surface.
Well, I mean, and that's the important thing to note is that, you know, I keep thinking to myself, I was like, I can't wait to see what they're going to add to this, but I haven't seen what is already there. It's funny
Yeah,
because the B-roll that we're running now is it's a lot of it takes place in a desert, and we haven't even seen the desert yet. Like they're like, oh, here, this is pre-approved B-roll. You can use this on the show. And I'm like,
yeah.
I haven't even seen any of this. We've been playing for 15 hours, and I'm like, well, where this is so far beyond what we've even seen. And so there's just so much, and I can't wait to spend hundreds of hours in this. Like this is going to be my No Man's Sky. Like No Man's Sky does a lot of great things, but it doesn't like do some of the things that I really need to dive into and get into and stay into. This is,
I think this is a lot more built for the people that couldn't get into No Man's Sky, people that want like action and you know,
a little bit more
combat
structure too, you know.
Yeah. It's definitely a different beast than No Man's Sky for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So final thoughts on what we've played so far. We've still got 2 more days to play the beta. Are you going to plow forward and see how much you can do in 2 days, knowing that all of your progress is just going to be wiped away?
Yes, I
Me too.
am addicted to this game, and this beta might be the greatest thing I've played all year long. Can a beta be game of the year? Because that's how I feel right now.
Dude, on Without Parole's first top 10 list, the Resident Evil demo was on that. So I think that's allowed, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. I had a feeling I was gonna like this a lot. I wasn't sure the early footage. I was a little afraid that it was gonna be a little empty. You know, this is the first MMO, and we don't even get a lot of RPGs, let alone something this massive. And it's pretty incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I have a hard time I have a hard time thinking about like, you know, are we overhyping this? Are we and I don't think there is a way to. I think this is like one of the most impressive things anybody has made for PSVR yet. And again, yeah, we'd seen all the trailers, and I kept thinking to myself, I was like, this has to be PC VR footage, and maybe it is, but you know, at least the pro version is on par. It is stunning, and it's just one of those things where like every so often I'll just stop and take in the world and be like, this is beautiful. And I said the same thing about Song in the Smoke, but this blows that away in terms of like variety and detail and everything else.
Much bigger than Song in the Smoke, and that game was huge.
Yeah, well, that was certainly like divided up into segments, and like they hid loading screens everywhere. This is just like this is
there's
the world.
It's open world. It is open world. There's not one loading screen once you get into it, at least that I've experienced yet in 18 hours. It is open world. Like no loading screens, no cut off sections, not open area. It is huge, and I don't know how they did it, to be honest with you.
Mad Max the Metaverse Gamecat VR with a $2 tip says, "Wait, how is the story?" I think we both said that we're sort of not paying attention to it, and AJ on purpose, and me because I'm just super unattentive to this kind of stuff.
I'm avoiding the story for now.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where it's like there's just so much to do where like you don't even really need to be paying attention to the story. Like if you want to get into the lore and you want to do all that stuff, you can do that, but like you can just go out into the world and do your thing. with whoever you want to do it with, or by yourself. So it's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive. Dan Kiefer says it must hide the load somewhere. Yeah, it's really good at it. It must be streaming constantly.
Yeah.
Final thoughts, AJ?
No, I'm really excited for the full release. This is going to be an absolute must play, and man, I'm not only excited about the launch of this game and building our guild and getting our community involved with this game, because I know this is going to be something we can all get together, and it'll probably hold most of us. And yeah, this is going to be like being able to get everybody under one video game roof, and it's going to be incredible. And yeah, I'm excited about this, and I can only imagine how they're going to expand this with PSVR 2. I think this game is going to explode even more when PSVR 2 comes out. I think this game is going to get even bigger.
Wonder Rob with the $5 tip. What's up, Wonder Rob? Says, when can I play this? Is it crossplay to other headsets? Yeah, even the beta is killing it with the crossplay. Again, it should be an open beta in the next month or two, and then there's no official release date. I believe it's just they've just been saying early 2022, and so that is awesome news that it's right around the corner, and hopefully everyone will get a chance to play it before it comes out. Dragoon's Eye 76 with the $2 tip says, is there any lore that leads to quests?
Any lore that leads to quests? Yeah, there's definitely. Yeah, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there definitely is some side stuff that maybe it's quests that lead to lore that leads. Yeah, it's kind of both.
Yeah. So no offense to Wanderer, a game that we are definitely very much looking forward to, but wherever Zenith fell on my top 10 most anticipated games of 2022 list, wherever it fell before, it's now moved all the way up to the top. This is my most anticipated game. This is definitely one of my favorite games of the last 5 years on PSVR. My final thoughts are, I never knew how much I wanted to play an MMO. I never really cared that much before, and now this is all I want to play. Jamie with the $2 tip says, any chance we'll get Zenith in January? And the answer is very unlikely, considering that the open beta probably won't be until January or February. But what a perfect time for this game to come out. Perfect time when like things are slowing down for PSVR. We're patiently waiting for PSVR 2. This is a game that you buy and then you're covered for the rest of the year, right? You're covered until the new headset comes along. Then like Wander will come by, and maybe who knows how long that'll be, 8, 10, 12 hours. I have no idea. And we take a break from Zenith. We all go play that game, and then we come back to Zenith and we plow ahead for another week until another game comes out. Then we play that for a few hours and boom, back to Zenith. We've needed one of these games for so long, and the fact that it's coming out now, great. But if they better bring this over to PSVR 2 and continue to expand the world and continue to add new weapons and everything else into the world so that we can keep playing this thing.
They will bring this to PSVR 2. They've already made some comments about the orbs and how they're excited about using this game with that. So yeah, I can't wait to see. I've seen some stuff and just what the PSVR 2 is capable of, and yeah, to have that transformation as well is going to be like that's going to be really, really nice.
Yep. And and dude, I've already met some cool people in this game too. It's today I was running around and I was just trying to grind, and I met this kid Preston, and he and I went off and quested together until we met up with AJ, and AJ was already questing with somebody else, and so all four of us just got into a party together. And we're like, let's just do this together.
and then we went into the dungeon, and then we ran into more people.
Right. Next thing we knew, like 9 people were taking down the boss. We're like, that was easy.
Yeah. I loved how we killed the dungeon boss or whatever, and then like in comes like one guy, and he's like, "Oh," he's like, "Oh, everything's already dead." We're like, "Sorry, we killed everything already."
Right, but if you like grinding, or if that happens to you, just everything does respawn fairly quickly. So you get to fight it all again if you want to. It's really good, really good. I'm constantly impressed by this, and I'm super excited that we got to to sit here and tell you guys about it, and we'll be playing this for the next couple of days. So maybe even on Wednesday we'll have even more impressions of shit that we find a little bit later in the game. Maybe we'll figure out how to use some of these machines with clothing in them that are not labeled. Maybe hopefully I'll get a chance to do some cooking and crafting. And just
I haven't even done the cooking yet. Yeah. You can make smoothies and stuff. There's like, and dude, we didn't even talk about like you can climb trees and grab like fruit, and then you can eat that fruit for like mana and rage or yeah. And there's a certain fruit that I really love that is in this game that made me really excited, and I was like 10 out of 10 as soon as I saw it.
Dude, I mean, I don't want to undersell the climbing. Again, that is so pop one where it's like you just climb everything. You climb everything. I don't even know why there's ladders in this game because you can just climb everything. Climbing is great and getting up to a high vantage point and then jumping off that and just putting your arms out and gliding. Again, it's like these really
climbing
basic
up high
things.
too. Climbing up high too, and then looking out in the distance, like oh my god.
Yeah, we've talked about it so frequently over the years, saying you're making a VR game, make locomotion fun, like take advantage of the fact that you're in VR, and being able to just reach out and grab onto surfaces and climb is super fun. And then I mean, there's a running gag on Discord and here that every game would be better with jetpacks. Why? I mean, and that's how could you not believe that to be true? But in this specific case, gliding is incredible, and it just makes locomotion fun. And I think that you can tell the developers really gave this a lot of thought. Like, how can we make just traveling around really fun? And just like a big open world RPG, you can find spots to trigger fast travel points, and so
you can fast travel. Yes, correct.
Yeah, from anywhere. So they've really put a lot of thought into this. And again, I'm super excited to get back into it and experience more of what the beta has to offer. AJ.
Yo.
I hate to tell you, you know what time it is?
It is time for 20 questions. I know I could talk about this game for days because there's so much in it, but I'm glad we kept it pretty spoiler free for the most part.
Yeah.
That's going to be important because I do think the discovery and the surprise is half the fun.
I totally agree. But again, it's absolutely crazy that this game turned out to be as good as it is. I was under the impression that this was in development for PC VR and Quest, and that we'd maybe eventually get a PlayStation VR version by the end of next year, right? And then by that point, it would have to be a PSVR 2 game. And that just wasn't the case at all. I was totally wrong, like 100% wrong about that. And I've never been so glad to be wrong. I've been wrong many, many times over the years. This time, I'm super happy to be wrong because it's almost here, and it's awesome.
Yeah. Brax Bro gets it. Guns. Mages with guns. Need I say more? Mages with guns.
Yeah. Dragoon's I-76 with the $2 tip says, "What's the best loot you guys found?" I guess my mage guns. I went into an area that was that I wasn't supposed to be in. The game was like, "Hey, you're not strong enough to be here. You might want to turn back." And I was like, "Not only am I not strong enough to be here, but I'm doing it alone." And I went in and just took down a bunch of enemies, and I killed the boss of the area, and I was rewarded with better mage guns, like really like rare mage guns that were way more powerful than the ones that I had. And I was like, that's right, fuck you, game. Like, I got the thing that you didn't think I was good enough to get. And so that was it. It was a cool experience. It made me feel really powerful to be able to do that. I don't know, did you find any rare loot?
I think one of my favorite surprises was not necessarily the loot that I found, but some of the skills and the abilities you unlock, the Godstones. I thought I was just going to be just slicing away and doing like normal stuff, and there's a little bit more. Let's just say there's some abilities you unlock that lets you use the swords in new ways that really open things up even more and add some variety to it, and give you some really cool abilities to use with the sword.
Nice. Yeah, all my magic was really fun, and getting good at it, and upgrading all of that magic. It was just, again, constant progression. It just feels really good. The game is very, very satisfying.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, it's my turn for 20 questions. I've got a game in mind. The question is do you know what game that is? You have 20 yes or no questions, along with all the cats in the chat, in 6 minutes. to figure it out. AJ, are you ready?
I am ready.
Here we go. Timer is up.
Does it have move support?
Yes.
Does it support any other controller?
No.
Okay.
Oh,
Perfect.
actually, you know what? The store page says yes, but I'm going to tell you, I can't. I don't remember using
Probably
it.
has DualShock support.
You wouldn't.
I'm guessing.
Yeah, you wouldn't associate this game with
Yeah.
DualShock. That's for sure.
Some moves. Is it a puzzle game?
Yes.
Is there full locomotion?
No.
Is there teleport only?
Oh, no. No. That's 5.
No full locomotion, no teleport. Including no teleportation?
No teleport.
Is there no teleport whatsoever? Okay. I was being vague with that on purpose. So you can't move. There's no full locomotion. There's no locomotion, it sounds like. Let's see here. Do you shoot things?
That's not a primary thing that you do in the game. If you do, it's all puzzle related.
Okay. Paper Beast was last week. Shapeshifter. What's up, dude? Haven't seen you in a minute. Love seeing people that I haven't seen in a while. Beard of Power. I like where you're going with this. Is there a demo for this game?
I can't answer that. I don't think so. I can double check.
Okay.
But
It's probably not.
I don't see one listed on the store now.
It's probably not Tumble VR. I don't think it's Puzzling Places, because there is locomotion in Puzzling Places. There's full locomotion, pretty much, even if it's bad full locomotion. How many questions are we at?
7.
Did this game come out within the last year?
No.
Okay, so it can't be Gadgeteer. That was a good guess, Diz. Ooh. Has this developer made other VR games? Other PSVR games?
Yes.
Was it made by Shell Games?
Yes.
Ben Dawson.
Mm-hmm.
I think you got it. Is this game about being a secret agent?
It is.
All right. That's the only
one
game they have like
be?
that, right? Well, it'd be the one that didn't come out. That one that wasn't released this year, within the last year, which is I Expect You to Die.
That's right. 12 questions. I Expect You to Die by Shell Games.
Nice, Ben.
Very
Nice.
well done. Very well
Great
done.
questions. Great questions all around, Cats. Appreciate the assist.
Good job, you guys, because you know he couldn't have done it without you. You know he
Nope.
couldn't have. All right. Guys, we had about 30 minutes before, again, anybody who has access to RC Airplane Challenge, please come and help us play some multiplayer. I want to capture some footage for my review. I want to get some impressions for my review. So definitely want to be checking that out. Apparently, I saw Baseline in the chat saying not only is it out in Australia, it's also out in European territories now, so you can actually pick it up. Keep in mind, I'm still not 100% sure. I didn't see Reggie in the chat. I don't know if it is the final version. He may be getting a patch out later, or the patch might already be out. Just keep that in mind. Also, make sure you buy the PlayStation 4 version, because currently he doesn't have the cross-buy thing enabled, and so you want to make sure you'll be able to play it in VR. Eventually, the cross-buy thing will be enabled, and it'll all be taken care of. So you get the PlayStation 5 version after that. Okay. AJ.
Zenith hype levels maximum.
Yeah, pretty much, man. Pretty much. It was, it's been the greatest thing about playing a game like this is being able to talk about it, and the only downside is that all the cats can't be in right now. So hopefully when that open beta drops, hopefully everybody's going to be able to get in on it. And then, of course, after that, we're all just going to storm the gates of that game with our Gamecat Guild.
And they've given us full access. So we know the game is kick-ass. So put that on mark it down, because you're going to want to pick that up and come join us and play with us.
Absolutely. Mick Coles asks, are you doing a Christmas Eve GamesCast? We need to chat about the time on that, because I can't do it at the normal time because I do actually have Christmas Eve plans. But if maybe we can do a later night version of it. But AJ and I will figure that out and get back to you guys. We will know very shortly. Obviously, we just need to talk about it. So, thank you guys. Thank you everybody in the chat. Thank you everybody who participated tonight during 20 questions. Thank you to everybody who donated during the show. We really, really appreciate you. Thank you to everybody who helps us out on patreon.com/withoutparole and of course, thank you to everybody out there who watches the show, doesn't comment, doesn't contribute, doesn't say a goddamn word. We know you're out there. We do. Numbers don't lie, and we love you just as much. Go subscribe to AJ at PSVR Underground. Again, when I slack off, he picks up the slack. Can we cue the cat?
You're the cat, Brian, because I want to say you guys have a wonderful night. We'll see you Wednesday to Rody the Game Cat, Trusty Mod in the house. All you are is history, the Snow Cat. Ooh, I like it. MRI Gamer, Flame Hat, Game Cat. Much love to you, my friend. Good to see you, homie. Imzadi, thank you so much for asking all the hard-hitting questions that you guys need to know about. Imzadi, I think, has played a MMO here and there, I believe. Sounded like some experienced questions there. Distracted Game Cat. Can we do special guest Dave? We'll see. We got to hit up the Dave Meister. We talked to him recently. At most VR 77 GGC. Thanks, homie. Cheers. Shapeshifter, again, good to see you. It's a Zenith. Brax Bro. Yes, it is, dude. Zenith is a metaverse. It really is.
Yeah.
Taco Cat spelled backwards is Taco Cat. The Taco Cat. The Zenith hype. I know. I was thinking the same thing too, my friend. Ian Stanbridge. Maybe all games of 2022 will be great. Yes, I agree. Maybe.
Oh God, let's hope so. I really want Do Not Open to be good. Really do. Fingers crossed, man. I got my toes crossed for that shit.
I can tell you, he really does. Super Dexter Murphy, good to see you. Mick Coles, keep them shapes throwing. Hack the Game Cat, I knew it was lit up in here. He's lighting up the Christmas fire with his litness. Neon Groove, yes, Zenith is amazing. Definitely look forward to it. Nick Mulo, thank you. He's proud of being proud of. I'm proud of you too. Strange Game Studios in the house. Good to see you, Reg. Just it says swamped, but patches are in progress. Maybe 20 minutes. Boom! Look at that.
Okay, sweet.
Patrick M. Ash VR, the Groovy Game Cat. Johnny Rap out the Stray Cat. Robert the Game Cat. All of you guys have a wonderful night. We'll see you again soon. Later.